This is the Pawn Sacrifice channel and part 53 of the 924S 1.8T Audi thingy turbo build. And there's been a long delay since the last video. There's a few reasons for that. One, I'm doing about, and I'm surrounded by rubbish here, framed quite nicely, but there's just stuff everywhere. I've got about 3 or 4 different jobs going on at the moment. The biggest one has been here. Some problems, and yeah, I was out for 4 or 5 days just through limited movement because I don't know what was going to come up picture wise, but had a bit of a stupid mountain bike accident. Basically ended up face first in a hedge and just took most of my left side, scratched to hell. Which hasn't been too bad. It's not serious, nothing's broken, it's just been the movement's been quite restricted for a few days. But back into it now, and yeah, this video might be a bit of a mess because I'm just trying to chunk together some different bits of content just to keep things moving forwards. Some stuff for the engine and some stuff that I didn't fully expect with the bodywork, which we're going to get into right now. Not the bodywork, but the video, and I'll be back in a little bit. And we're back in action with the steel bung to fit the return line for the turbo drain onto the sump. So that's the jobby that I've got through. This is from Torx UK. I've bought quite a few of their bits and pieces now, and they've always been really good service. This is what comes in the kit. It's a Ali one, and yeah, it's A, it's a lot lighter, and B, it's not going to weld onto here. So I've got this. I need to just basically tap the hole so that that fits through down to the lip, and then get that welded on. And this time I need to do it somewhere that's not going to impede one of the holes. One of the things which I want to just cover off real quick, not going to dwell on it, is the height, the position of the feed. So I'm going to move it down a little out of the way so that I can you know, try and get a decent amount of, or get a decent weld around it. Now, everything that I was starting to get a bit worried about this, because everything that I've been reading on the internet was telling me that it needed to be as high up as possible, and that if it went below the oil line then it was basically going to back up and everything was going to be a mess and blah 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 blah. So I'll just show you here. But essentially the factory one is a lot lower than I would be putting it. I mean, on the factory sump, the same, oriented the same way, albeit the deeper part is at the other end, is, yeah, I mean, it's quite a way down. It's about 7 mils down, compared to, I suspect I'll probably be putting it about 5 or so down. That's on, and it's a right old mess. I don't know if you can just see there that the build-up is ridiculous. That was just me trying to make sure that I got enough on there to get this in and secured, and then not basically going to leak. So what I will do is just put this fitting on, try and bung it up so that I can fill this with water, and just make sure that everything is okay. In the last video I basically took, this is the cam sprocket pulley thing, whatever it's called, and when I took it off basically because the belt was riding up to about there and then off the other side, which just isn't good. I assumed it was on the wrong way around, took it off, but when you turn it round, the timings looks completely different. And also the thing that I noticed was the key, which is, well, you can't actually see it there, was nowhere to be seen. So I ordered up a new one straight away. It came really quickly, thank you to whomever. But that key there is quite pronounced. So anyway, this is going to go back on. What it does mean though is that the timing is slightly different because of where the TDC marks are on this in relation to the key. So yeah, it's probably within about, I don't know, 5 or 10 degrees or something like that. So it's an interference engine, which means that things will smash together if the timing's out. But I did check, and actually this is well within the confines of where people are advancing or retarding the timing. I've already set the thing to top dead center. This little rascal here, and this was the reason I was kind of not, this isn't all painted up properly and what have you, moves. So when everything's fully settled down and all the weights on everything and the engine mounts have settled, that was a lot closer. There's a lot less of a gap there. So what I've done is I've just marked out everywhere where this needs to be pushed back. I'm not going to trim anything out because I want to keep that seam. So I'm just going to push that back in and trim a bit off there, and then hopefully we will be golden. The other thing which I've done in your absence, so to speak, and again I've done enough. I've done 2 videos now. I'm not about to do another one on the brake booster. This has been such a pain to get in and out that what I've done is just created a little mounting bracket and to go on the back, and essentially that's got some captive nuts. It's a piece of metal that's cut out to fit, and I've rolled the edges on a few sides just to add to the rigidity of it. This is out because it needs painting, so that needs, a few bits need cleaning up, masking up, and then paint. And there's down there where you can't see, there's a whole load of stuff which is just ready for some paint to go on. Some of it's going to be body coloured, some of it's going to be just in black and gloss. I'm guessing, to nobody's surprise, things are escalating a bit. So the black stuff is mostly painted now. That is a bit of a mess, just because of the way the material's been hammered into shape. And also what I did do was just put seam sealer around the edges, because I don't want any moisture getting in there and causing any rust, because some of the welding was a bit lumpy, and I don't want to be grinding it back too much and then making the metal too thin and porous. So this is probably the neatest and easiest solution all round. So that's pretty much ready to go back on. So this is the point in the video where I'm getting around to where the wheels are coming off completely in terms of plans and getting things done. So yeah, I decided I wanted to tidy up the engine bay a little bit. That was the idea, and then it kind of escalated from there. This has got completely out of hand now, as you can see for yourselves. So I've been round, scuffed up any of the paint which is going to be overpainted. I'm going to do more on the front than I thought I was going to. I'm glad with the section here that I've taken all of this off now, because actually there was starting to get some paint bubbles and some rust, and some areas out of the factory it's just primered, which obviously isn't ideal. So I'm going to get all of this basically go over it now with wax and grease remover. I've got a fresh cloth. I'm going to go and have some lunch, make sure everything dries properly, and then I'm going to come back, primer a few things, and then I need to leave that for about 2 or 3 hours while I get on with some other jobs. So we are back. This is a number of days after the failed attempt. Basically the paint had all gone a bit milky on the clear coat. The red wasn't really looking as vibrant as it was on some of the other bits. I know it's only the engine bay, but I'm going to try and get this right, just figure out what's going on with painting, because I believe the problem with the clear coat was that it was getting too cold. The temperature wasn't up to where it needed to be, so I've waited today until today, having had a look at the forecast for this week. So everything's been sanded back, scotch brighted back where it's been too difficult to get sandpaper in there effectively, to basically make a nice surface. It's been had the panel wipe, so wax and grease remover, and now I've just been around everything with a tack rag. Cans are all fully shaken up, and I've got the bucket of hot water here. So what I think I'm going to do is just rotate the cans around a bit more, which I wasn't doing last time. The reason for that is that as you start painting and as the aerosol's coming out, this can starts getting colder and colder. So they're going to be going in and out, just to try and keep warm ones on the go. So I think I'm going to call it there video wise. Like I said, there's other stuff going on. I've got a whole load of bits of steering out there, I've got suspension stuff over there, and in the next couple of days it should all start going back together, and then the final bits will be done to the engine, and that's going back in as well. But yes, quite pleased with the way that the bodywork's turned out, just in terms of the protection that it's going to give it. Paint wise, it looks okay. It kind of, in parts from a distance, isn't too bad, but if you get close it looks like a monkey's got bored of throwing its own feces and decided to have a go with red paint. So that's where that is. I think some of the problems I was having with the cans was I was on there first time round. I think part of it was the heat, but I think also where I was using it, I wasn't quite pushing all the way down. I was just to go over it lightly. Whereas I think with the aerosols you really need to give it the beans on the button and just get as much paint out and on as possible. At some point I think I'm going to have a go at the exterior as well. That's not going to be with rattle cans. What I'm going to try and do, because I've got the compressor, I would like to just get that hooked up with a paint gun. That may have to wait until next summer. The main goal now is to get this back together and to get it MOT'd. So apologies for the delay of getting this out, but praying, and I know I keep saying this, I'm praying that there's going to be other content to follow fairly quickly. If there isn't, it means that things are going badly wrong. So fingers crossed, hope not, and hopefully we'll actually see you quite soon. Cheers for watching, bye now.